One. Hello everyone, and welcome to. I'm going to go with the writers class, but I feel like this is definitely an anti-thought podcast.
I know it. What? Welcome to. I don't know what's going on. What's going on, Winona? What's going on?
I don't know. I'm not here to know what's going on. That's your job. I am here to ask questions and apparently just show the top of my breast today. That's it. Jay, would you like to finish? Because I'm done my comedy routine.
I don't know. I have a slight headache now. Like I don't know. I'm Jade though, and that's Winona. And
is that better?
No. That's my feelings. Okay. All right. And we wrote Literary Life Guides of Pop Poetry.
We actually had something worthwhile to say.
Yes, y'all. We do. We actually do. And I thought divorce was bad with other life lessons. And I thought being grown up was easy. And if only I were me, a memoir and verse, all available on audible.com. You can check those out. And then if you want to check out everything you're lazy doing, go to www.andwethought.com.
If you want that all in an abbreviated one page, then you should go to andithoughtlaties.com. But you're not here to hear about us, and I just jumped the gun on this.
Yes, you did.
Tanya, would you like to introduce
our co-host?
Hi, I'm Tanya Todd. I'm an author, actress, and screenwriter from Las Vegas.
Okay, you see, like, ever since she has her own show, she's gotten it like down to just three like little sentences.
You say that, but I didn't even mention my show, which would have been a smart thing. And the new host of the podcast, the 52 Love Podcast. Is that better?
You love that.
Okay, right. Now at the appropriate time, Jade, go ahead.
Absolutely. So we have another wonderful guest here today. Wonderful guest. Would you like to
introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Hannah, and I'm feeling very Hannah Knowles. I'm editorial director at Cannongate Books in the UK. I'm feeling very much an underachiever in this whole group right now. That's all I am. I'm an editorial director at Cannongate Books. No other side gigs, nothing fancy. So yeah, that's me.
You shouldn't feel like an underachiever. You've achieved.
I am.
Right, you do your one thing very well, though.
Yeah, there it is.
And quite honestly, we spend a lot of time trying to talk to someone in your position anyway. So
right. Right.
Because we're right. So what made you...
I do that and I take lots of cat anyway.
Yes.
What made you want to pursue a literary...
Sorry, lag in the Zoom. Sorry. Go on.
Okay. What made you want to pursue a literary career?
You know, it was kind of falling into it. So I think I've got a time lag. I'm really sorry. I think my Wi-Fi might not be great. So, but hopefully, hang on.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, my connection isn't great. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I fell into it. That's the truth. Is I fell completely, and I didn't think I want to work in publishing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually started off life randomly training to be a musician. I had a scholarship. I went to a music school. And then I got really bad repetitive strain injury, and that was that. So I couldn't do that anymore. And I didn't
what did
know
you play?
What else I was doing. Flute and piano. Yeah, I had no idea like what else am I going to do, and it was just a case of, well, I need to earn a living. I need to do something, and so it was that or journalism, and it was literally that this was the first job I got. That was it, and then unimaginatively I just kept going. But luckily, I think the thing with publishing, and I think I mainly do nonfiction. I do maybe 60-40% nonfiction, maybe 70-30 some years. But I think there's you can do a lot of creative things with nonfiction. You can get your hands stuck in, and you can get involved, and certainly when I first started out in publishing, that was what I was doing. I was doing nonfiction, and I just really enjoyed being able to do those creative bits of it, really. But it was an accident. It was not by design. So yeah. And now, how old am I now? 40. So that's like 16 years later, I'm still here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what are the creative bits that you're talking about with nonfiction? Because no one thinks, oh, nonfiction. Creative things. They think history.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of it is you've got to be aware of what else is. I think that's the thing I like about nonfiction is that you need to be aware about the world outside of books. And, you know, it's more about, you have to be far more in tune to what other people are thinking about and talking about. And fiction is very much about words, and non-fiction is to a degree, but you've got to be more aware about the world around you. And I'm kind of more interested in what everybody else is doing than what publishing's doing, honestly. I just like working with people who are passionate about what they do and who get excited when they're talking about it, and that's what they live and breathe. And working with people like that is really exciting. So, and helping them shape a book, because often with nonfiction, they're not necessarily writers. That's kind of where the creative bit comes in, and it's fun. I really like it. It just kind of gives me.
So how hands-on are you when it comes to editing? Because you just said that you like to help shape up the book. Are you the type that ships it out to someone, or are you someone who really works with the author?
I really like to work with the authors. Yeah, I do. I mean, if we're originating it, so I mean, you guys probably know. So if I'm a UK publisher and I buy a book that's originated in the US, I probably won't do much work on it, if any. If it's like a book that's already out in the States, then I will buy it in and I won't do stuff. But if it's a book that we're originating, then absolutely we're very hands-on. And I think Cannongate in general, the editors are very, very hands-on. It's I've worked in a mix of corporates and indies across the time I've been publishing, and I think the indies is a lot more you get stuck in, and I like that.
You do have some very notable American authors at Cannongate, but are those typically someone who's already been published here, or are you open to international submissions?
Very, very open. I mean, Cannongate has done a lot of international publishing over the years, and not just US. And I think, and it sort of worked both ways as well, that our books have been published internationally as well, really well. I think that's just about being open to lots of voices and being curious. And I don't know if that's a really good answer, but yes, basically we do. Yeah, we do. Probably a lot of authors, and it's about the book. Ultimately, it has to be about the book. And when, you know, it's difficult because you'll hear this more and more, and you'll know this, that there is so much talk about authors having to have a platform. And that is something as a commissioner that's hard to hear. And because ultimately for us, it's about the words and it's about the book. And for me, I always think if the book is special, then it has to find a way. But yeah, it's increasingly hard. It is. But words always speak for themselves.
I just find it interesting that you keep saying the word curiosity and publishing. I don't hear those often together. So
that's very true and very fair. I would say, yeah. I mean, I'm deeply cynical about publishing. But and to be honest, you know, coming to Cannongate, before I joined, I was about to get out of publishing completely, and it brought back my love for what I do. And it's a company that's, you know, it's about being curious, and it's about finding the voices that aren't necessarily heard. Or this is a really bad metaphor. I don't even know if I should say it. I used this recently and it's really bad, so I'm sorry. But I think when you work at an indie, you don't have the money that the big corporates have. So you have to find that diamond in the rough, you know, you have to find that special, you can tell us something special. And if something comes in from an agent and it's polished and it's amazing, you know that 10 other publishers are going to be offering for it and you're probably going to get priced out. So I think what we have to do a lot of the time, not always, sometimes we can compete, but a lot of the time it's saying there is something really special here. It's just that it needs a bit of honing, it needs the work to get it there. So my really bad, analogy is it's like seeing a horse with a cone on its face and saying that's a unicorn. And you're like, that is a unicorn. And it's saying to the sales teams and the marketing publicity, I know that's a unicorn. And then knowing that in 18 months time or 2 years, that's going to be a unicorn, which is a really bad way of describing it. But
it really isn't, because everyone is looking for that unicorn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of knowing it's there. It just is, you have to see beyond that perhaps slightly rough submission maybe, or something that's not as finessed, because you know you can't go up against the big five. Because they're all like Transformers these days, aren't they? So they're so massive. It's just they keep buying each other. Anyway.
Okay, so I have a question, and I think it's going to be like my last question that I have. Right? I don't really normally have questions. So you said that you have worked for other publishing houses that are bigger, and now you're working for an indie publisher. Can you explain what the difference is to our audience? Because sometimes when you're a new writer, you don't know the difference.
Yeah. That's a good question. Because in part, a little size is generally the corporate tend to be a big company who owns a lot of companies within that. So, for example, I work at Random House. They own, in the UK, they own. So, can you hear me? My internet keeps going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
You can hear me. Great, good. So, Random House, in the UK, they own Ebury, Vintage, Cornerstone. I'm missing somebody else. My brain's blanking. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. So they own those different divisions, if you like, within them. I suppose purely an independent is when you are not owned by a parent house. So we're still independent. We're not owned by anybody. It's just us. Cannongate's been going since 1973. And yeah, we're an independent. So we're not owned by anybody. Whereas the Penguin Random House, Hachette, Simon & Schuster, Macmillan, Harper, and Transworld, they are corporates and they own lots of big companies within those umbrella companies. That's really poor explanation as to what they are, but ultimately I think it is about having an umbrella company that owns a lot of the companies versus being your own company really still.
I agree.
I
mean, you explained it in a business way.
And that is extremely helpful, right? Because as people go out like, oh, I'm not going to get published by Random House, I know this. And then they go to another person, they maybe don't know that it's owned by Random House. So they're being a Random House, they maybe don't know. And maybe they are looking for just an independent publisher.
Yeah.
To really look for it and oh, this is owned by a person. There it is. That's the independent publisher I want.
And it's not always that an indie is necessarily better than a corporate, and it's not necessarily that you'll, I don't know. I think as a commissioner in an independent, generally we take on fewer titles, so we have more time. We have more time to work with the authors, and it's a lot more focused in what we do. But you don't have the money. We can't spend loads of money on marketing, and it's, I think it always up in different ways, and it just depends what as an author you want, I guess. And really that's my job as a commissioner I shouldn't be taking on authors where I think, they'd be better off with a corporate. They need a good marketing spend, and that's down to me really. I have to think about that as well.
So what are some things that mean that you look at an author and you think, we're not someone who can help that author? When it's not really about the quality of their work so much, it's about that person needs to be here versus with someone like us.
Well, I suppose being really kind of numbers about it. Last year there was a huge amount of submissions. I had about, I'd say over 1,000 submissions, and I've got maybe 10 slots in a year. So for me, the crucial thing is, why should we do this? And could we, as Cannongate, would we be the best possible publisher for this book? And if I can hand on heart say, I think I'm the best editor for it, and I think we're the best publisher for it, then that, I think, has become my rule of thumb. I think when I was younger. When I was younger and I was like, earlier on in the business, I'd be like, do I love it? Do I want to do it? I love it. I want to do it. And I go through. But as you get older, it's just like, you know what, loving it isn't enough, because you can't carry that as an editor. You need everybody in the company to get it and everybody to be on board with it. And if you don't have that, then it's not fair to the author.
So have you turned down work that you love because you didn't think
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. How painful.
Yeah. Oh, it's really painful. Trust me, it's really painful. It is. But at the same time, I'd always rather see somebody succeed and flourish somewhere in a way that they wouldn't necessarily with me, or with us as a house. So I mean, the most important thing is the book, and the book has to be out there. If it's a great book, I might feel a bit sore, but it's not about me. So yeah.
So that's a really good thing to take away, authors out there, that sometimes your book gets turned down, not because they didn't love it. It's probably they're not maybe going to be the best fit for you. So remember that, y'all.
I have the normal narcissistic question. So I know you do nonfiction, but have you ever thought about two adorable African-American Cannongate?
Pop poets, not even real poets, pop poets.
Oh, stop.
I mean, always.
I love it. That was great. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Okay, we're getting it over to Tanya now.
Yeah, because Tanya has some really important questions.
Well, let's piggyback on the self-centered questions, like the narcissistic questions. For those of us who are preparing to go on submission, what can we do to make ourselves more attractive to a publishing house who might consider our work?
I think it's different for nonfiction and fiction, really.
What if you have one of each?
If you have one of each, okay. So for nonfiction, I think, I'll speak for me because I can't speak for all commissioners or all houses. I think for me, I like clarity. I really like to have a clear sense of what you're trying to achieve. I like people with passion who are speaking about something that they are really expert on and that they know and they love. And you can tell me why you're the right person to be writing that book. Why you? It's, yes, the subject, but why you're the person to write it and why you're the person to sort of tell me about it. Great writing is always a good thing, obviously. With nonfiction, I think a lot of it's about communication, and for me, accessibility of communication is really important. And so, yeah, those I think are my key things for nonfiction. Is clarity, a clear sense of purpose. Why this book, and the ability to communicate in a way with the reader that makes them want to engage. With fiction, that does get a lot more personal. And I think for me personally, I love really musical writing. And I really respond to writing that has just that kind of musicality, a rhythm to it. And I sort of struggle with those kind of terms about lyric and genre, and I struggle with that. To me, I respond to it if I respond to it in my ear, I guess. That's not really helpful, but anyway. I think
you're saying it's all a matter of taste. If it speaks to you, if it sings to you,
it's
it works,
a good
right?
idea to follow.
So I read about something that you are not interested in publishing, and I'm curious what your reason why is, that you have deliberately avoided publishing books about motherhood. What's the reason for that?
So I think I might have just missed something you said, so I'm sorry. I did get the last bit about motherhood, but I'm sorry if I missed. Well, so it's interesting that you say that, because I am now about to publish a book about motherhood.
I think that's what the quote was about, that you deliberately do, but now you found something that you're just like, I have to publish it anyway. But what was your reason for avoiding motherhood?
I suppose it's not as straightforward as saying that I don't want to be I've never had the desire to be a mother, because there are lots of books that I've published that I have zero experience of or interest in. But I think I just felt there's a complication with it, I think, for me. And I found that when I read proposals that came in, I couldn't figure why I would be the right person for them. Whereas when the book that's coming out in June by Pragya came in, it was about how the concept of motherhood and having children impacts all women, and in the most inclusive sense, you know, and that made me go, okay, yeah, that and that I understand, because it does. Whether you want them or not, whether you can have them or not, and you know, it's just, and I think that was the approach that just was like, you know, okay, this I can engage with, and this I can be an editor for this. So yeah, I think it probably comes down to that whole thing about, am I right for this subject or this book?
Right.
The one thing I've never commissioned is cookery. I love eating, but like, don't get me to commission a cookery book.
You know,
I just like, I have no idea.
I really love
I don't know what will sell. Sorry, go on.
I really love the point that I think a lot of authors we miss, right? When we're writing, we're doing with editors. You said that you have to connect with it and can edit it, because if you don't connect with it, you might not give it the best chance. You might not edit it the best that you could. And I really appreciate you saying that for our audience, because yeah, there are times when this is not the right editor for your book. Like, they don't get it, they don't understand it, and they're gonna edit it, but it's not in a way, they're not coming from a place where they can.
I think you would say editing is like getting a beautiful stone in, and then you have to turn it into a great polished sculpture. And if you don't know, if you can't understand what the end product is supposed to be or connect with the actual vision, what you're going to turn out is not going to be a sculpture that anybody artist wants to see.
And that's one thing that I always say, you know, when I do, I try to do, when you do kind of Q&As with writers groups or creative writing courses, is that if you get an offer from a publisher, try to have a meeting with the editor, and ideally with the publicist and the marketing person as well, you know, because that is somebody, you know, ideally it's really hard. I think it's very hard because, say if you've got one offer, it's very hard to say, well, I want to have a meeting with the editor, because you might feel, well, I have to say yes because it's a publisher. But I suppose I still feel that if you have that book and you end up being published by somebody who's not right for you, that could be more damaging to you in the long run. And I think if you can have a meeting and just make sure that you're on the same page and make sure that they get you and they get the book, I think that's really crucial. It really, really is.
Oh, I hope y'all are taking notes of it.
Oh, for real. I'm learning a lot.
I'm learning a lot. So we're going to turn it back over to Tanya, because we have to talk about cats.
She's not come in. I don't know where she's gone. Sorry.
Yes, tell us about your love of cats and photographing them, because I was appreciating your Instagram feed. I went down a rabbit hole and I was trying to find out more about you, but what I found out is, oh, we have this in common, and I love kitties too.
It's called Cats and John Hamm, basically. Yeah, no, I mean, I grew up with cats, grew up with farm cats, actually. When we were kids, the local milkman. Do you have milkmen in America?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Maybe we don't anymore. Maybe we have a few, but yeah. So the local milkman, we got 2 kittens off him, 2 little black and white kittens. But so we always had cats growing up, and the minute I paid off my student loan, which was not that long ago, FYI, I was like, I'm going to get a cat. So I got Cagney, who is named after Christine Cagney of Cagney and Lacey, because she's very independent and she doesn't really need Lacey. And she's a rescue, and she's completely mad and a bit of a nightmare, but I love her to bits. She's just, yeah, she's definitely a one-off. But she keeps me very entertained. And through lockdown and COVID, I swear I would have lost my mind if I didn't have the little furry creature.
Someone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, she's very entertaining, and she's very photogenic as well. So that's good.
She is, definitely.
Yeah.
You were attempting to write your own book?
You know, this is, I was talking to somebody about this recently, a friend because I've got friends who are writers as well as having authors that I work with. And I was saying, because you get a lot of editors who do write books, and that amazes me, because for me as an editor, I feel like my job and the way my brain, it's like, you know, when you're I mean, I don't really exercise, but say if you're like training to be something, an athlete or whatever, you're working on certain muscles. And I think for me as an editor, my time is spent going, it's like you're talking about sculpture. My time is spent kind of honing in and in and in and in, and it's about refining and cutting. And as a writer, you need to be doing the opposite. You need to be going that way. You need to be expanding and getting everything out, getting everything on the page, and being, basically going the totally opposite direction to the way my brain is going. And so for me, I think as long as I'm an editor, I don't think I could be a writer.
You just said something that is going to help me get over this roadblock that I've been having this week with a story. It's hard to switch my brain sometimes, because I do, I am an editor too, not the way you are, but I want to get the sentence perfect the first time, and I don't know why. I've never submitted a first draft to anything ever, but still, I just can't get past this point. And so I need to switch my brain and think I am pouring. Like, this needs to be the funnel going the other way, And when I'm ready to whittle it down, then I can switch my brain and do the other thing.
Exactly. And I think that there are so many examples of editors who are writers, and I think they must just have a brain that can do two things. Mine can't. I just can't. I'm just like so I'm just that kind of my brain is definitely in one mode, and I think I have no idea if I could do it. I would only know if I quit editing. I think it's
that's true. Your brain might just fill in, like, we have to be doing something. We have to work on something.
Yeah.
Wow. We have time for one more question, and then it's the final question.
Okay, well, I have kind of a fun question I wanted to ask. Are you okay if it's not professional?
Go for it.
Your favorite Bond, and who's your choice for the next Bond?
That's a good one. I quite enjoy the hamminess of the old ones, because when I grew up, in an age where you watch them and it was a Saturday or a Sunday and it's always on the TV and that's what's there. And I like the hamminess of them. So it depends why you're watching Bond. If you want the kind of cool whatever, then okay, Daniel Craig, great. And I did enjoy those, and I think I really enjoyed Casino Royale out of the ones that he did. But I do really enjoy the cheesy ones, the cheesy Roger Moore, and where it's silly. That I kind of enjoy those ones as well. So, and in a way, I think maybe Daniel Craig has slightly missed the humor bit. I like. The thing is, the books themselves are pretty awful, aren't they? I don't know if you've read any of the books. Somebody, so when I worked at Random House, and they did re-releases of all the books, and I'm dipping in, it's like, oh my god, this is just the most sexist, awful books ever. But
very much a product of its time.
Completely a product of its time. Exactly. I think Idris Elba would be an amazing Bond. He would be phenomenal. Yes. And then somebody else was saying Gillian Anderson. Let's make it a woman, and Gillian Anderson would be great.
That's 008 though.
So I'm kind of up. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm up for something. I think somebody who can be a bit playful with it. I think that's what we need. Somebody who's got, a touch of mischief about them charm as well, able to do the serious stuff.
I like this. I love that question, Tanya.
That was a great question, Tanya.
Good question.
Thank you.
So now it's time for final question, Jade.
Where can people find out more about you
and Cannongate?
Well, Cannongate, our website. Oh God, you know what? It's terrible because I'm not going to be able to remember our website. I think. Let me just double check our website so I don't get it wrong. Bad Hannah. I think we are. Hang on. Sorry, guys. So we are cannongate.co.uk. Got that right. So you can see more about us on our website, or follow us on Twitter. I think we're Cannongate Books on Twitter. I think we are again. Hang on one second. We are.
Editing the
We're
book.
Cannongate Books. We are Cannongate.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're Cannongate Books on Twitter, and we're on Instagram as well. I'm on Twitter as, I think I'm as Hannah Knowles. I think there's maybe a 3 instead of an E in my surname. And if you like cats, if you like cats, then I'm on Instagram. If you don't like cats, don't bother following me. It's definitely not worth it. It's really not.
We have someone new to follow them because we do like cats.
I know, I love cats.
Yeah,
That's exciting. Thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Tanya, where can people find out more about you?
I am across all social media at Ms. Tanya Todd. My website is www.mstanyatodd.com. You can find me on IMDb under Tanya Todd, or the 52 Love podcast on Spotify and YouTube.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy she said the IMDb, and don't forget to click on the IMDb so she can get more
Yes,
jobs.
we love it. We love it. All right, you can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andrethought.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the ladies tab, go down in the middle, and see the charities that we probably support. Maybe you can support them also. We really appreciate it. And if you want all of this, just in like super abbreviated one page, where they go.
You can go to andithougghtladies.com.
All right, just remember, y'all, wisdom is all around you.
You're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
And Jade, bye-bye. Oh, yeah, thanks for listening.